One day, you will wake up and realize that the fear controlling your life was never stronger than you. It was only louder. Every doubt, every failure, every painful memory has convinced you to stop trusting yourself. But what if this morning could change everything? What if the peace, confidence, and strength you've been searching for were already inside you? Listen carefully, because the way you begin your morning shapes the direction of your entire life. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the past. And for the first time in a long time, choose to believe in yourself again. Your transformation starts now. Every morning, you are given a choice to carry yesterday's pain or to release it, a choice to stay trapped inside fear or to trust the strength already living within you. Most people wake up and immediately surrender their minds to stress. They check their phone, they remember their problems, they replay old failures, and before the day even begins, their energy is already gone. But listen carefully. Your life will not change because of one perfect opportunity. Your life changes the moment you stop fighting yourself. Let go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the opinions that keep you small. Let go of the mistakes that no longer belong to this moment. You cannot move forward while dragging the weight of your past behind you. The tree does not hold dead leaves forever. The river does not fight the flow of water. Nature understands something that humans forget. Growth requires release. And maybe that is your problem. Not that you are weak, but that you refuse to release what is already over. Some of you are still carrying words spoken to you years ago, still carrying rejection, still carrying guilt, still carrying fear of failure. But hear this clearly. Your past is not your identity. What happened to you may have shaped you, but it does not define the person you can become. This morning, stop asking for permission to believe in yourself. Trust yourself. Trust the voice inside you that knows you are meant for more. Trust your ability to survive difficult moments. Trust your instincts. Trust your growth. Trust the process of becoming. Because confidence is not something you magically receive one day. Confidence is built every time you keep moving despite uncertainty. The strongest people are not those who never feel fear. The strongest people are those who act while fear is present. Understand this deeply. Fear will always speak. Doubt will always whisper. But you do not have to obey every thought that enters your mind. Your mind can be trained. That is why discipline matters. That is why silence matters. That is why mornings matter. When you wake up early and sit alone with your thoughts, you begin to see yourself clearly. You begin to understand that peace is not found outside of you. It is created within you. And the world desperately tries to distract you from that truth. Noise everywhere. Comparison everywhere. Pressure everywhere. People chasing validation from strangers while abandoning themselves in the process. But real power begins when you stop needing everyone to understand your journey. Not everyone will believe in your vision. Not everyone will support your transformation. Some people only recognize the old version of you. because that version made them comfortable. Still move forward. A seed looks small before it becomes a forest. Transformation is invisible before it becomes undeniable. So stop judging your progress too early. Every day you choose discipline over excuses, you are changing. Every day you choose self-respect over self-destruction, you are changing. Every day you choose courage over comfort, you are changing. And one morning, you will wake up and realize you are no longer the person who once doubted themselves. But first, you must let go. Let go of the illusion that you must have everything figured out. No one truly does. Life is learned through movement. Clarity comes through action. Waiting until you feel ready is one of the greatest traps of the human mind. You become ready by beginning. Take the first step, then the next, then another. Even small progress changes your direction. Do not underestimate the power of consistent effort. Mountains are shaped by wind. Bodies are transformed through repetition. Character is built through daily decisions. This morning, choose yourself again, not the distracted version of you, not the fearful version of you, the focused version, the disciplined version, the calm and powerful version, hidden beneath all the noise. You already have what you need within you. The problem is not lack of potential. The problem is lack of trust. You trust fear more than possibility. You trust excuses more than discipline. You trust comfort more than growth. And that must change. The moment you trust yourself, your energy changes. Your posture changes. Your decisions change. Your future changes. Because when a person finally believes in themselves, they stop begging life for certainty and start creating their own path. Do not wait for motivation every day. Motivation is temporary. Commitment is stronger. There will be mornings when you feel tired, mornings when doubt returns, mornings when the world feels heavy. Still rise. The sun rises every morning without asking whether the world deserves its light. And you must learn to do the same. Rise with purpose. Rise with discipline. Rise with faith in who you are becoming. And remember, peace does not come from controlling life. Peace comes from trusting yourself enough to handle whatever life brings. So breathe deeply this morning. Release the tension, release the fear. Release the old story. You are not here to remain stuck in yesterday. You are here to evolve. Walk forward with courage. Trust your journey. Trust your growth. Trust yourself. And never forget, the life you want begins the moment you stop holding on to the life you have already outgrown. The biggest reason people remain stuck in life is not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is because they refuse to let go of what no longer serves them. Every day, millions of people wake up carrying emotional weight from their past. Old failures, painful memories, regret, rejection, disappointment, and fear silently follow them everywhere. Even when life gives them a new opportunity, their mind is still trapped in yesterday. They try to move forward while emotionally holding on to things that already ended. This creates inner conflict, stress, and exhaustion. A person cannot fully grow while constantly looking backward. The mind becomes heavy when it is filled with unresolved pain. Some people still replay conversations from years ago. Others continue blaming themselves for mistakes they made in difficult moments. Many secretly believe they are not worthy because of something that once happened to them. Over time, these thoughts become emotional chains. They begin to shape identity. Instead of seeing themselves as strong, capable, and evolving human beings, they start seeing themselves through the lens of past suffering. That is why letting go is not weakness. Letting go is an act of freedom. Nature teaches this lesson perfectly. Trees release dead leaves every season. Rivers keep flowing without holding on to old water. The sun rises every morning without carrying darkness from the previous night. Growth only happens when there is space for renewal. Human beings often resist this natural process because they fear change. Pain becomes familiar, and familiarity feels safe even when it causes suffering. Some people hold on to sadness because it has become part of who they are. Others hold on to anger because they think it protects them. But emotional baggage does not protect the soul. It slowly destroys peace from within. Letting go does not mean pretending the past never happened. It means accepting that it cannot control your future anymore. Painful experiences may shape wisdom, but they should not imprison the mind. Every scar carries a lesson, but constantly reopening old wounds prevents healing. There is a difference between remembering something and living inside it emotionally every single day. True healing begins when a person decides they no longer want their past to define their future. Many people wait for closure from others before they move on. They wait for apologies, explanations, recognition, or justice. But sometimes closure never comes. Some people will never understand the damage they caused. Some situations will never make complete sense. If your peace depends on others correcting the past, you give away your power. Real freedom begins when you stop waiting for permission to heal. You choose to release the burden for yourself, not for anyone else. Holding on to the past also destroys present opportunities. Fear from old failures creates hesitation. Past heartbreak creates emotional walls. Previous rejection creates self-doubt. Slowly, life becomes smaller because fear controls decision-making. Instead of taking risks, people protect themselves from possible pain. But avoiding pain also prevents growth. A person who never lets go eventually stops evolving. Their body moves forward in time, but their spirit remains trapped in old experiences. Inner peace only becomes possible when the mind stops fighting what already happened. Acceptance is powerful because it ends resistance. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you can decide how you carry it today. The moment you stop identifying with your pain, you begin reconnecting with your strength. You realize you are not your failures. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your worst moments. You are a human being capable of growth, transformation, and renewal. Every morning is an opportunity to release emotional weight and begin again. When you wake up, you have a choice. You can continue carrying old pain into a new day, or you can slowly teach yourself to breathe, trust life, and move forward with courage. Letting go is not something that happens once. It is a daily practice. A practice of forgiveness, awareness, acceptance, and self-respect. The more you release what weakens your spirit, the lighter your soul becomes. And when the mind is finally free from unnecessary emotional burden, a person discovers clarity, peace, confidence, and the strength to fully embrace life again. Most people spend their entire lives doubting themselves. They question their abilities, their decisions, their dreams, and even their worth. The moment difficulties appear, fear begins speaking louder than confidence. One failure convinces them they are incapable. One rejection makes them feel unwanted. One mistake becomes proof in their mind that they are not good enough. Over time, this lack of trust slowly weakens the human spirit. Instead of listening to their inner wisdom, people begin relying completely on outside opinions, validation, and approval. They stop believing in themselves and start living according to fear. Trusting yourself does not mean believing that life will always be easy or predictable. It means believing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to face it. This kind of self-trust creates inner stability. Without it, every challenge feels overwhelming because the mind immediately assumes defeat. A person who lacks self-trust constantly hesitates. They overthink every decision. They wait for perfect certainty before taking action. But certainty rarely exists in life. Growth always involves risk, discomfort, and the unknown. Many people underestimate how powerful their mind truly is. Human beings survive painful experiences, emotional loss, failure, loneliness, and uncertainty, yet they still continue moving forward. The problem is not lack of strength. The problem is lack of awareness of that strength. People focus so much on their weaknesses that they forget how much they have already overcome. Every difficult moment you survived is evidence that resilience already exists within you. But when the mind becomes trapped in self-doubt, it ignores this truth. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people stop trusting themselves. Fear creates imaginary disasters before anything even happens. It tells people they will fail, embarrass themselves, lose everything, or disappoint others. Because of this, many stay inside their comfort zone for years. They avoid opportunities, suppress dreams, and silence their potential simply because fear convinces them they are not ready. But readiness is not something that magically appears one day. Confidence grows through action. Every step forward teaches the mind that survival is possible. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving despite fear. Society also trains people to depend heavily on external validation. From a young age, many are taught to seek approval before trusting their own judgment. They become afraid of criticism and obsessed with pleasing others. Slowly, they disconnect from themselves. Instead of asking what truly feels right internally, they ask what will be accepted externally. This creates inner emptiness because no amount of outside approval can replace self-respect. A person who trusts themselves does not need constant reassurance from the world. Their confidence comes from alignment with their values, discipline, and personal truth. Mistakes are another reason people lose faith in themselves. They believe one wrong decision defines their identity forever. But mistakes are part of human growth. Every strong, wise, and successful person has failed many times. Failure is not proof of weakness. It is proof of effort, learning, and experience. A person who never fails usually never challenges themselves enough to grow. Self-trust develops when you stop seeing mistakes as personal destruction and start seeing them as lessons. Discipline also plays an important role in building trust within yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows stronger. Waking up early, training your body, controlling your emotions, working on your goals, and staying committed during difficult moments all teach the mind one powerful lesson. I can rely on myself. Self-trust is built through consistent action, not empty motivation. The more you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, the stronger your inner foundation becomes. Life will never remove uncertainty completely. There will always be moments where the future feels unclear. But trusting yourself allows you to walk through uncertainty with strength instead of panic. You stop expecting life to be perfect before moving forward. Instead, you develop faith in your ability to adapt, learn, and recover. That changes everything. Your decisions become clearer. Your energy becomes calmer. Your fear loses power. When a person truly trusts themselves, they stop living as a prisoner of doubt. They stop shrinking to fit other people's expectations. They stop waiting for permission to pursue growth. They understand that strength already exists within them, even during difficult times. And once that inner trust is awakened, the human spirit becomes far more powerful than fear. Most people search for peace in external things. They believe peace will come when they earn more money, receive more recognition, find the perfect relationship, or finally escape their problems. But even after achieving many of these things, they still feel restless inside. Their mind remains distracted, anxious, and emotionally unstable. This happens because true peace is not created by comfort alone. Peace is created through inner strength, and inner strength is built through discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or restriction. Many people see it as something difficult and unpleasant. In reality, discipline is one of the highest forms of self-respect. It is the ability to guide yourself instead of being controlled by emotions, impulses, or temporary desires. A disciplined person does not wake up every day depending on motivation. They act according to purpose, values, and commitment. This creates stability within the mind because their actions are no longer controlled by chaos. Without discipline, the mind becomes weak and easily distracted. Modern life constantly pulls attention in different directions. Social media, entertainment, unhealthy habits, endless comparison, and instant gratification train people to avoid discomfort. Many spend hours escaping reality instead of improving themselves. Over time, this creates frustration because deep inside, every human being wants growth and meaning. Temporary pleasure may feel satisfying for a moment, but it cannot replace the long-term peace that comes from self-control and progress. A person who lacks discipline often becomes a slave to their emotions. When they feel tired, they quit. When they feel afraid, they avoid challenges. When they feel stressed, they search for distractions instead of solutions. Their emotional state controls their behavior every day. This creates instability because emotions constantly change. One moment they feel motivated, the next moment they feel hopeless. Without discipline, life becomes unpredictable and reactive. Discipline creates a completely different kind of energy. It teaches the mind that feelings do not have to control actions. A disciplined person wakes up early, even when they feel tired. They continue working, even when progress feels slow. They train their body, even when comfort calls them back to bed. Every time they choose growth over comfort, they strengthen their character. Over time, these small daily decisions create powerful inner confidence because they know they can rely on themselves. Inner peace does not come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from becoming strong enough to face difficulty calmly. This is why disciplined people often appear more peaceful. Their mind is not constantly fighting itself. They are not trapped in cycles of guilt, procrastination, and regret because their actions align with their goals. They understand that short-term discomfort creates long-term freedom. The human body and mind are deeply connected. Physical discipline strengthens mental discipline. Waking up early, exercising, controlling habits, eating with awareness, and maintaining routines all train the mind to become more focused and resilient. When people neglect their physical health, their mental clarity often weakens as well. A disciplined lifestyle creates energy, focus, and emotional balance that supports inner peace. Discipline also teaches patience, which is rare in modern society. Most people want immediate results. They want success without struggle, confidence without effort, and peace without sacrifice. But real transformation happens slowly. A strong mind is built through repetition. One workout will not transform the body. One meditation session will not quiet the mind forever. One productive day will not create success. Peace and strength are developed through consistent practice over time. Another important truth is that discipline reduces unnecessary suffering. Many people create pain for themselves through avoidance. They avoid responsibilities, difficult conversations, healthy habits, and self-improvement. But avoidance only increases stress. Problems grow larger when ignored. Discipline forces a person to confront life directly. This honesty creates freedom because nothing is constantly being postponed in the mind. There is also deep spiritual power in discipline. When a person learns to control their impulses, they stop being controlled by the outside world. They become less dependent on validation, pleasure, and distraction. Their happiness becomes internal instead of external. Silence becomes comfortable. Simplicity becomes fulfilling. They begin discovering peace within themselves rather than constantly chasing it outside. Every disciplined action sends a message to the mind. I am capable. I am strong. I can handle discomfort. Over time, this builds unshakable inner strength. Life will always contain uncertainty, pressure, and challenges. But discipline creates stability within chaos. It allows a person to remain calm even when circumstances are difficult, because their foundation is built from self-control, awareness, and purpose. And when inner strength is developed consistently, peace stops being something temporary. It becomes part of who you are. One of the greatest traps in modern life is the constant need for validation from others. Many people spend years trying to be accepted, admired, understood, or approved by the world around them. They shape their behavior according to what others might think. They hide their true feelings to avoid criticism. They silence their dreams because they fear judgment. Slowly, without realizing it, they stop living authentically and begin living for the approval of other people. This need for validation usually begins very early in life. From childhood, many people are rewarded when they behave in ways others like, and criticized when they express themselves honestly. Over time, they begin associating self-worth with outside approval. Compliments create confidence, while criticism destroys it. As a result, their emotional state becomes completely dependent on how other people respond to them. This creates deep insecurity because external opinions constantly change. Social media has made this problem even stronger. Every day, millions of people compare their lives, appearance, success, and happiness to what they see online. They measure their value through likes, followers, comments, and attention, instead of asking themselves whether they truly feel fulfilled. They ask whether others are impressed. This creates a dangerous cycle because validation gives temporary emotional satisfaction but never lasting peace. The more people depend on outside approval, the emptier they often feel inside. The truth is that no matter what you do in life, not everyone will understand or support you. Some people will criticize your choices simply because they are different from their own. Others may project their fears, insecurities, or limitations onto you. If you constantly seek universal approval, you will lose yourself trying to satisfy impossible expectations. A person who lives only for validation becomes emotionally controlled by the opinions of strangers. Seeking validation also prevents growth. Many people stay small because they fear being judged. They avoid speaking honestly, taking risks, starting businesses, pursuing creative goals, or changing their lives because they worry about how others will react. Fear of criticism becomes stronger than the desire for freedom. But growth requires courage, and courage often means being misunderstood for a period of time. Every person who transforms their life eventually reaches a moment where they must choose between authenticity and approval. True confidence is not built through constant praise. It is built when you learn to stand by yourself, even without applause. A person with real inner strength does not need everyone to agree with them in order to feel worthy. They understand that their value does not decrease because someone fails to recognize it. Self-respect becomes more important than popularity. There is also a deep emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly performing for others. When people wear masks every day to fit expectations, they slowly disconnect from their true identity. They become anxious because they are always managing impressions instead of simply being themselves. This creates inner conflict. On the outside, they may appear accepted, but internally they feel empty because they are not living honestly. Learning to stop seeking validation requires self-awareness. A person must begin asking difficult questions. Am I making this decision because it feels right to me, or because I want approval? Am I expressing my true self, or am I trying to avoid rejection? These questions help reconnect a person with their authentic values instead of social pressure. Solitude also becomes important during this process. When you spend time alone without constant noise and outside influence, you begin hearing your own inner voice more clearly. Many people are uncomfortable being alone because they are unfamiliar with themselves without distraction or validation. But silence reveals truth. It allows a person to understand what genuinely matters to them instead of constantly absorbing society's expectations. Another important lesson is realizing that people's opinions are often temporary and subjective. Someone may criticize you today and admire you tomorrow. Public approval changes quickly. If your self-worth depends on unstable opinions, your peace will always remain fragile. But when confidence comes from character, discipline, values, and self-awareness, it becomes much more stable. Freedom begins the moment you stop needing everyone to approve of your path. This does not mean becoming arrogant or ignoring wise advice. It means understanding that your life belongs to you. Your purpose, growth, and happiness cannot be fully controlled by outside expectations. When you stop chasing validation, you recover enormous emotional energy. You stop performing and start living. You stop pretending and start becoming authentic. The strongest people are often those who learned how to walk alone when necessary. They trust themselves enough to continue growing even when others misunderstand them. And in that freedom, they discover something powerful. Peace becomes possible when your identity is no longer dependent on the changing opinions of the world. Human beings naturally seek comfort. The mind prefers safety, familiarity, and routines that feel predictable. Comfort protects people from uncertainty, fear, and emotional risk. While comfort may feel peaceful for a short time, staying inside it for too long slowly weakens growth. A person who never challenges themselves begins living far below their true potential. Life becomes repetitive, predictable, emotionally empty, because real transformation only happens when a person is willing to step beyond what feels safe. Most people know deep inside when they are avoiding growth. They stay in unhealthy situations because change feels frightening. They postpone dreams because failure seems painful. They avoid difficult conversations, new experiences, and opportunities because discomfort creates anxiety. Over time, this avoidance becomes a habit. the longer someone remains trapped in comfort, the harder it becomes to break free from it. Fear grows stronger every time action is delayed. The comfort zone is dangerous because it often feels harmless. A person may convince themselves they are simply waiting for the right time or being realistic. In reality, many are simply protecting themselves from discomfort. But growth has never existed inside complete comfort. Every important transformation in life requires uncertainty. Learning a new skill feels awkward at first. Building confidence requires facing fear repeatedly. Improving physical health demands discipline and effort. Emotional healing requires confronting pain honestly. None of these processes feel comfortable in the beginning. Fear is one of the main reasons people resist stepping outside their comfort zone. The mind constantly imagines worst-case scenarios. It predicts failure, embarrassment, rejection, or loss before anything even happens. Because of this, many people stay stuck in situations that quietly destroy their spirit simply because those situations are familiar. The unknown becomes more frightening than unhappiness itself. But avoiding fear does not create freedom. It creates limitation. A person grows stronger by facing discomfort gradually. Every challenge faced with courage expands the mind's understanding of what is possible. Someone who fears public speaking gains confidence by speaking anyway. Someone who fears failure becomes stronger by trying despite uncertainty. Someone who fears rejection discovers resilience by taking emotional risks. Growth happens when the mind realizes survival is possible beyond fear. Confidence is not built by avoiding difficult situations. Confidence is built by moving through them. Physical training reflects this truth clearly. Muscles only grow when placed under resistance. Without challenge, the body becomes weaker over time. The human mind works the same way. Emotional resilience, discipline, courage, and self-belief are developed through pressure and discomfort. Difficult experiences often reveal strengths people never knew they possessed. Many discover their true potential only after being forced beyond their limits. Comfort also creates stagnation because it reduces awareness. When life becomes too easy and repetitive, people often stop questioning themselves. They stop learning, exploring, and evolving. Days begin blending together. Deep inside, many feel restless because the human spirit naturally desires expansion. There is a powerful feeling that comes from overcoming challenges and becoming stronger through effort. Without growth, life may feel safe, but it rarely feels deeply fulfilling. Stepping outside the comfort zone does not mean acting recklessly or chasing unnecessary suffering. It means being willing to experience temporary discomfort in order to create long-term growth. It means understanding that fear is often a signal pointing toward areas where transformation is possible. The things people avoid most are often connected to the lessons they need most. Failure is also an unavoidable part of growth. Many people stay inside comfort because they fear making mistakes. But failure is not the opposite of progress. Failure is part of progress. Every successful person has experienced rejection, setbacks, and moments of doubt. What separates strong people from weak ones is not perfection. It is their willingness to continue despite discomfort and failure. A person who never risks failure rarely experiences meaningful growth. There is also a deep sense of freedom that comes from overcoming fear. When you repeatedly face difficult situations, the mind slowly becomes calmer and stronger. Challenges no longer appear as threats, but as opportunities for learning. You begin trusting yourself more because you have evidence that you can handle discomfort. This self-trust changes how you approach life. Many people wait until they feel fully confident before taking action. But confidence usually comes after action, not before it. The first step always feels uncertain. The beginning often feels uncomfortable. Yet every powerful transformation starts with a moment where someone chooses courage over comfort. The human spirit becomes stronger when it is challenged. Adversity teaches lessons comfort never can. Through struggle, people discover patience, resilience, discipline, humility, and inner strength. Growth demands discomfort because transformation requires leaving behind old versions of yourself. And when a person finally embraces discomfort instead of running from it, life begins opening in ways they once believed were impossible. Fear and doubt are two of the most powerful forces that control human behavior. They quietly influence decisions, destroy confidence, delay progress, and convince people to live smaller lives than they are capable of living. Many people appear physically free, but mentally they are trapped by fear every single day. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty, and fear of not being good enough constantly shape the direction of their lives. Over time, these fears become automatic patterns of thinking. The mind begins expecting failure before action is even taken. Doubt works in a similar way. It slowly weakens trust in oneself. A person may have talent, intelligence, and opportunity, but doubt convinces them they are incapable. They begin questioning every decision. They overthink every possibility. Instead of moving forward confidently, they hesitate constantly. This hesitation creates missed opportunities, regret, and frustration. Many people suffer not because they lack ability, but because they never fully believe in their own potential. The human mind is extremely powerful, but if it is left untrained, it naturally drifts toward negativity and fear. Survival instincts developed over thousands of years cause the brain to focus more on danger than possibility. This is why negative thoughts often appear stronger than positive ones. The mind tries to protect the individual from risk, embarrassment, pain, or failure. While this instinct once helped humans survive physical threats, in modern life, it often prevents emotional and personal growth. Training the mind means learning how to observe fear without automatically obeying it. Fear itself is not always the enemy. Fear is a natural human emotion. The problem begins when fear completely controls behavior. A courageous person is not someone who never feels afraid. Courage means taking action even while fear exists. Every time someone acts despite fear, they weaken its control over the mind. Mental training begins with awareness. Most people never question their thoughts. They believe every fear and doubt that appears in their mind must be true. But thoughts are not always reality. The mind constantly creates stories based on past experiences, insecurities, and imagined outcomes. A person who failed once may believe they will always fail. Someone who experienced rejection may assume nobody will ever accept them again. Over time, these thoughts become mental habits. Without awareness, the mind repeats them automatically. One of the most powerful ways to overcome fear is through repeated exposure to discomfort. Avoidance strengthens fear. Every time a person runs away from difficult situations, the mind learns that fear should be obeyed. But when someone gradually faces what scares them, the mind begins learning a different lesson. Survival is possible. A person afraid of speaking gains strength by speaking. Someone afraid of failure grows by trying repeatedly. Confidence develops through experience, not imagination. Discipline also plays a major role in mental strength. A disciplined lifestyle trains the mind to act independently from emotions. Waking up early, exercising regularly, practicing meditation, controlling distractions, and maintaining routines strengthen mental focus. These habits teach the brain that discomfort can be tolerated. The more a person practices self-control, the less power fear and doubt have over their actions. Silence and solitude are important for mental clarity as well. Modern life constantly distracts the mind with noise, entertainment, social media, endless information. Many people never spend enough time alone with their thoughts to truly understand themselves. Meditation, reflection, and quiet moments allow a person to observe fear without immediately reacting to it. Over time, this creates emotional balance and self-awareness. Physical health also affects mental strength. Lack of sleep, poor habits, and constant stress weaken emotional resilience. When the body becomes exhausted, the mind often becomes more vulnerable to anxiety and negativity. A healthy body supports a stronger and calmer mind. This is why many disciplined practices combine physical and mental training together. Another important truth is that fear never completely disappears. Even strong people experience uncertainty and self-doubt. The difference is that mentally strong individuals no longer allow those emotions to stop them. They understand that fear is temporary, but regret can last for years. Instead of waiting to feel fearless, they move forward despite discomfort. The stories people tell themselves also shape their mental reality. If someone constantly repeats, "I am weak," "I cannot do this," or "I always fail," the mind eventually accepts these beliefs as truth. Mental training requires replacing destructive thinking patterns with stronger perspectives. This does not mean pretending life is perfect. It means refusing to mentally destroy yourself before life even tests you. Every challenge faced with courage strengthens the human spirit. Each difficult moment survived becomes evidence of resilience. Over time, a trained mind becomes calmer under pressure, clearer during uncertainty, and stronger in the presence of fear. doubt loses its authority because self-trust begins replacing insecurity. And when a person finally learns to master their own mind, they stop living as a prisoner of fear and begin living with freedom, confidence, and purpose.